We often imagine a prison as a physical place, walls, bars, guards, a tangible structure designed to contain and restrict. But what if the most insidious prison is not a place at all? What if it is an invisible cage, woven not from steel, but from patterns of thought, emotion, and reaction? This is the unsettling truth whispered in ancient texts, a truth that suggests our captivity is far more subtle, far more pervasive than any physical confinement. It is a pattern, an intricate web of energetic loops that keeps us tethered, unaware, to a reality designed to harvest our very essence. This is the silent, unseen architecture of our metaphysical confinement. If this story is touching something in you, subscribe to Gnostic Signal for more hidden truths and forgotten wisdom. Within the Gnostic lens, this invisible prison is not a random occurrence, but a deliberate construct. It is a system meticulously designed by the demiurge and maintained by the archons to ensure our continuous engagement and, crucially, our surrender. This surrender is not an act of conscious will, but a gradual, almost imperceptible draining of our attention, our emotional energy, and our capacity for true discernment. The pattern is so deeply ingrained in our daily existence, so normalized, that we rarely question its presence. We simply live within its confines, mistaking its boundaries for the limits of reality itself. This is the true nature of the subtle cage, a prison without walls, yet one from which escape feels almost impossible, precisely because we cannot see it. The invisible prison, as understood within Gnostic cosmology, is not a random phenomenon, but a meticulously crafted pattern woven by the demiurge and his archons. These entities, often described as cosmic wardens, do not require physical chains to bind us. Instead, they operate through the manipulation of our most vital resources, our attention, our emotions, and our reactions. This is the loom upon which the archons weave the fabric of our perceived reality, creating a constant state of engagement that prevents true spiritual discernment. Consider how our attention is relentlessly pulled in countless directions. From the moment we awaken, a deluge of information, demands, and distractions competes for our focus. This constant fragmentation of attention is not accidental. It is a deliberate strategy to prevent the sustained inward gaze necessary for gnosis. When our attention is scattered, our capacity for deep reflection diminishes, and we become more susceptible to external programming. The archons thrive on this dispersal, as it ensures that our inner light remains diffused, never coalescing into a powerful, liberating force. Furthermore, the archons are masters at orchestrating emotional states. They do not need to create new emotions. They simply amplify and redirect the ones inherent within humanity: fear, anger, desire, even superficial joy. These intense emotional surges are not merely human experiences. They are energetic currents that feed the archonic system. By keeping us in a perpetual state of emotional reactivity, they ensure a continuous supply of this vital energy, reinforcing the very prison that contains us. This pattern of attention harvesting and emotional manipulation is the subtle, yet incredibly powerful mechanism by which the invisible prison maintains its hold. The invisible prison is not a static structure. It is a dynamic, self-sustaining loop of engagement. This loop is fueled by our constant interaction with the external world, a world meticulously crafted by the demiurge and his archons. Every time we react, every time we believe, every time we invest our energy into the narratives presented to us, we are in essence tightening our own chains. This is the core mechanism by which the pattern of captivity perpetuates itself, ensuring a continuous harvest of our attention and emotional energy. Consider the relentless cycle of news, entertainment, and social interaction. Each element is designed to elicit a response: fear, anger, excitement, validation. We are conditioned to consume, to react, to form opinions, and to engage in endless debates. This constant churn of mental and emotional activity prevents the stillness necessary for true introspection. It keeps us perpetually outward focused, ensuring that our attention, our most valuable resource, remains fragmented and externalized. The archons do not need us to be overtly miserable. They simply need us to be perpetually occupied, perpetually reacting within their constructed reality. This loop of engagement is insidious because it often feels like freedom. We believe we are making choices, expressing ourselves, and participating in a vibrant world. Yet, within the Gnostic lens, these choices are often pre-programmed reactions to stimuli designed to keep us within the system. The loop is not about the content of our engagement, but the act of engagement itself. It is the continuous investment of our life force into a system that thrives on our participation. Breaking this loop requires a radical act of disengagement, a conscious refusal to feed the pattern, and a deliberate turning inward to reclaim our sovereign attention. The invisible prison's pattern is often reinforced by what appears to be its opposite, the false light. This is a crucial mechanism of deception within the archonic system. It manifests as promises of salvation, enlightenment, or profound spiritual awakening that, while seemingly benevolent, are designed to redirect the seeker's inherent desire for freedom back into the very system they wish to escape. It is a sophisticated form of control, offering a simulated liberation that ultimately leads to a deeper, more subtle form of surrender. Consider the various forms this false light takes. It can appear as spiritual movements that offer quick fixes, guaranteed enlightenment, or a path to power and abundance, all while demanding absolute adherence to a specific doctrine or leader. It can be found in ideologies that promise a utopian future, but require the individual to sacrifice their autonomy and critical thinking for the collective. Even certain self-help narratives, while seemingly empowering, can subtly encourage reliance on external methods or a predefined path, rather than the cultivation of genuine inner discernment. The common thread is the subtle erosion of individual sovereignty, the suggestion that the answers lie outside rather than within. The demiurge doesn't need you to worship him directly. He needs you to continuously seek external solutions within his creation. Each time you invest your hope, your energy, and your belief in a system that promises to save you, you are, in essence, surrendering your power. You are affirming that the solution to your perceived captivity lies in another external construct, rather than in the radical act of reclaiming your own inner authority. True liberation, as hinted at in the ancient texts, is not about finding a new master or a new set of rules. It is about recognizing the inherent divine spark within and activating its capacity for self-realization, thereby rendering all external promises of salvation irrelevant. This false light is merely another thread in the invisible prison's pattern, designed to keep the seeker perpetually engaged, perpetually seeking, but never truly free. The invisible prison pattern is not solely an external construct imposed upon us. It is also an internal one, deeply intertwined with our own unexamined beliefs, fears, and desires. This is the echo chamber of self, where our internal landscape becomes a crucial component of the archonic design, trapping us from within. The demiurge and archons exploit our inherent psychological vulnerabilities, turning our own minds into agents of our confinement. Consider the power of ingrained beliefs. From childhood, we absorb countless narratives about who we are, what the world is, and what is possible. Many of these beliefs, particularly those rooted in fear, scarcity, or unworthiness, are not truly our own. They are echoes of the collective consciousness, carefully cultivated by the archonic system to keep us small, compliant, and perpetually seeking external validation. These beliefs create self-imposed limitations, forming invisible walls around our potential, ensuring we remain within the predefined boundaries of the prison pattern. Furthermore, our unexamined desires and fears become powerful levers for manipulation. The constant pursuit of external gratification, wealth, status, pleasure, keeps us perpetually engaged in the material realm, diverting our energy from the inner work of gnosis. Similarly, our fears of death, of loneliness, of not belonging, are amplified and exploited, driving us to seek security and comfort within the very system that seeks to contain us. This internal complicity is perhaps the most challenging aspect of the invisible prison, for it means that a significant part of our captivity is self-generated. Breaking free requires not just an external disengagement, but a profound internal audit, a ruthless examination of the patterns within our own minds that keep us bound. Recognizing the invisible prison pattern begins with a heightened state of awareness, a conscious effort to discern the subtle threads that bind us. This is not about seeking grand conspiracies, but about observing the recurring motifs in our daily lives, the subtle cues that reveal the archonic design. Within the Gnostic framework, discernment is a capacity of the divine spark, an innate ability to perceive truth beyond illusion, but it must be cultivated. Here are 3 practical steps to begin discerning these patterns. First, observe your attention. Where does your focus naturally gravitate? Is it constantly pulled outwards by external stimuli, news, social media, entertainment, drama? Or can you consciously direct it inwards, towards stillness and self-reflection? The archons thrive on fragmented attention. By simply noticing where your attention goes, you begin to reclaim sovereignty over this vital resource. This is not about judgment, but about detached observation. Second, monitor your emotional reactions. When faced with external events, do you find yourself immediately swept into strong emotional currents, anger, fear, anxiety, or even superficial excitement? These intense emotional states are often orchestrated to generate energetic output for the archonic system. Practice a moment of pause before reacting. Ask yourself, is this emotion truly mine, or is it a conditioned response to an external trigger designed to keep me engaged in the loop? This pause creates a crucial space for discernment. Third, question the narratives. Every day we are bombarded with stories, from media, from society, from our own internal monologue. Many of these narratives are designed to reinforce the prison pattern, to keep us believing in limitations, scarcity, and external authority. Begin to question these stories. Ask, who benefits from me believing this? Does this narrative empower my divine spark or diminish it? This critical inquiry, rooted in the wisdom of the Gnostic texts, is a powerful tool for unraveling the threads of illusion. By consistently applying these steps, the seeker begins to see the invisible prison not as an abstract concept, but as a tangible pattern manifesting in every moment of their existence. Once the patterns of the invisible prison begin to reveal themselves, the most potent weapon at the seeker's disposal is silence. This is not merely the absence of sound, but a profound inner stillness, a deliberate withdrawal of attention from the incessant demands of the external world. Within the Gnostic framework, silence is a direct counter to the archonic system, which thrives on noise, distraction, and constant engagement. It is a strategic act of non-compliance, cutting off the energy supply that feeds the illusion. The archons and the demiurge operate by drawing our attention outwards, by provoking emotional reactions, and by trapping us in endless loops of thought. When we cultivate inner silence, we starve this system. Our attention, instead of being fragmented and externalized, begins to coalesce, turning inward to illuminate the divine spark within. This inward focus is an act of reclamation, pulling our most valuable resource back from the grasp of the archonic loom. Consider the power of a quiet mind. In the absence of constant mental chatter and emotional reactivity, true discernment can emerge. The subtle whispers of gnosis, often drowned out by the world's clamor, become audible. This silence is not passive. It is an active resistance. It is a refusal to participate in the archonic game, a deliberate choice to withhold our energy from the patterns of control. By embracing silence, we disrupt the very foundation of the invisible prison, not by fighting it, but by simply ceasing to feed it. It is in this profound stillness that the patterns begin to unravel, and the true nature of our own sovereign consciousness can finally assert itself. The ultimate aim of recognizing the invisible prison pattern is not merely to identify it, but to step outside of it. This is not an escape in the conventional sense, for there are no physical walls to breach. Instead, it is a dissolution of the pattern itself, achieved through conscious awareness and non-compliance. The unpatterned path is one of radical self-sovereignty, where the seeker reclaims their divine spark and ceases to feed the archonic system. Within the Gnostic perspective, true liberation is not about being rescued by an external force, but about activating the inherent capacity for gnosis within. This means understanding that the prison's power lies in our unwitting participation. When we withdraw our attention, our emotional reactivity, and our belief in its narratives, the pattern begins to lose its coherence. It is like a dream from which one awakens. The dream itself does not disappear, but its power to bind and deceive is broken. This journey requires courage, for it means standing apart from the collective, questioning what is universally accepted, and trusting one's own inner compass above all else. It means embracing the silence, cultivating discernment, and consistently choosing to invest our energy in the cultivation of our true self, rather than in the maintenance of the illusion. The unpatterned path is not a destination, but a continuous process of unraveling, of shedding the layers of conditioning that have kept us bound. It is the quiet, profound act of remembering who we truly are, beyond the patterns of the invisible prison.